So you've given birth. Congratulations, Mama. You're superwoman. I see you and I feel you so deeply. Now what? Between the diaper changes, the sleepless nights, and the figuring it all out, bonding with your baby can feel like another thing to check on your list. But here's the secret. It doesn't have to be that complicated, and it could actually benefit you and your baby much more than you think on a physical and emotional level. So in this video, I will share sweet, simple, but powerful ways to connect with your baby in those early weeks and even months that will nourish both your hearts, support your baby's development, and make postpartum a little more easeful and magical for both of you. Hi, my name is Manon. I'm an Ayurveda practitioner and life coach for women and especially mamas, and I help you reconnect to your true selves through self-care and rituals to feel more radiant and nurtured in your life. So if that's you, please subscribe and stick around. First, why is it so important to bond with your baby? There's more and more evidence through science now that bonding can prevent postpartum depression, can support the baby's emotional health and even physical health. And there's also evidence that supports that bonding is so important for our mental health on a very long run, so even when we're adults. And I'll link beautiful books about this in the description of this video if you want to go deeper on that subject. So here are the things that can prevent bonding during postpartum. So first, traumatic birth. Having gone through birthing, very challenging and long and painful and not very supportive, anything that makes your birth very traumatic can prevent you from bonding with your baby. So if you did experience a lot of trauma through birthing, please get support to heal this because it's going to be so important for your own mental health and for your baby's health. And when I say traumatic, it can be a very wide spectrum. So for me, I had a natural birth, everything went well, my baby was breathing, she was doing very well, it went fast, but it was a lot to go through. I didn't have an epidural, so I felt everything, and just this in itself can be traumatizing for someone who's not ready to feel that much. And I was lucky to be very supported during my birth, but many moms are not supported that much. So if that's you, don't think that you didn't have a traumatic enough birth. You deserve to feel heard, you deserve to heal those emotions that can be stuck in your body, and it's going to support both you and your baby. Another reason why bonding can be challenging during postpartum is your own relationship with your mom. So if you didn't have a very close relationship with your mother, you don't really know how to have this close relationship with your baby because you've never learned on a physical, emotional level how it works. Even if you know mentally, it can be hard sometimes when we didn't receive that bonding and that nurturing from our own mom to do it to another baby. I will give you some tips for this in this video as well. Another reason that makes bonding a little more challenging is anxiety and depression during postpartum, which is very common. But bonding actually alleviates those conditions. So if you start implementing those practices that I'm going to give you, it can actually reduce anxiety and depression during this postpartum time. Exhaustion is also, of course, something that can prevent you from bonding because when you are empty, when you have no energy, when you feel so tired, it's going to be hard to nurture your baby and feel connected to them. Lack of support, of course, lack of community because of exhaustion and depletion and because we need the village to raise a baby. Overstimulation is very common during postpartum and that can prevent bonding as well because we are so touched. There's so much required from us that anything can feel overwhelming. I remember after giving birth not being able to watch a video. I was just being able to listen to something, but I couldn't combine both sound and visual at the same time. So if you feel this, you're not alone. It's a real thing. You get overstimulated very easily as a postpartum mom. So if that's your case, I can make a video dedicated to this as well because it's so important to take care of you in that way to avoid overstimulation. But let's get into it. First thing that I would recommend to support bonding during postpartum is, of course, preparing bonding during birth. And if you haven't watched this video, I made a special video on how to bond with your baby during pregnancy, so you can watch it somewhere. I will put the link in the description of this video and here. Starting during pregnancy is going to help you tremendously connecting to your baby after birth, but you can start even during birth. Having an intimate, supported, natural birth is a beautiful factor to help you connect to your baby. So to give birth and to breastfeed, you need a special hormones. I mean, you need many, but one of them is oxytocin, and oxytocin is the bonding hormone. It's the I belong hormone. And if you don't generate enough of oxytocin in your body, you can have a hard time giving birth. You can have a more painful postpartum and a hard time breastfeeding as well. So when your birth is supporting oxytocin production, it can support you tremendously bonding with your baby. So how to do this? You can use darkness. Darkness helps us release more oxytocin, so we avoid very strong lights, artificial lights during birth. Having low stimulation, so not too much sound, not too much music. I remember during giving birth, music was not even a thing for me because there was so much going on already in my body. The people you know and love around you, this is so important. So it can be your birth partner, it can be your doula, it can be your midwife, but knowing them and having common values with them, trusting them is very important. Music can be very supportive if you are sensitive to it, and it can help you being in this very fluid and receiving mode. That can be supportive as well. And another way to make more oxytocin is to be in water. So all of those, being touched as well, being hugged, being massaged, if that's something you like during birth. But all of those factors can support tremendously bonding after birth. Another thing that comes right after birth is skin to skin. Touch and smell are one of the most powerful way to connect with your baby, because your baby cannot really see you very well. They can hear you, but not as well as an adult can. So touch and smell are some of the most primal ways for your baby to connect with you. So if you touch your baby a lot and they are against your own skin, they can smell you, and it also supports you to release more oxytocin, which support breastfeeding and bonding and your own happiness, because oxytocin reduces stress, especially in women. So the more skin to skin you can do during birth and a lot after birth, the better it is. Just get rid of all the clothes. If it's cold outside, just wrap both you and your baby in a big robe. It's going to support both of you so much, and your partner can be involved as well, because skin to skin doesn't have to be only with the birthing mom. It can be with any one of the partners. Of course, another beautiful way to connect and bond with your baby is breastfeeding. And I know when you start, breastfeeding can be so much. It can be painful, it can be stressful, it can be overstimulating because it's a lot of touching. As I said, the pain from breastfeeding that we can experience can be too much for us. It also can stimulate our womb to contract, which is beautiful for healing, but sometimes it's a lot as well. But breastfeeding is so worth it. If I could say something to all moms giving birth, breastfeeding was hard for me. To be honest with you, it was hard to begin. The first month or two were painful. My baby had a hard time latching, so it was a lot to figure out and a lot to just go through, but it was so worth it. And to be honest, we are 19 months in right now. My daughter is 19 months old, and my goal was to breastfeed for 2 years, but now that I see how well it's going and how much we both love it, I want to do it even longer. You don't have to breastfeed for as long, but what I'm saying here is that breastfeeding became this beautiful connection moment with my daughter because of, first, a visual connection. So apparently babies can see clearly only at a very short distance, which is equal to the distance between your eyes and your breast, which means that when they're breastfeeding, they can see your face more clearly. And I think that's so magical because it shows how important this bond is. It helps your baby build their immunity, and it helps you as well build your immunity. It helps for the emotional connection between both of you, the oxytocin production, so your healing is going to be supported by breastfeeding. It's always ready. You don't have to warm up bottles. You don't have to bring things with you. You don't have to pay. There's so many beautiful aspects of breastfeeding. Again, it's your choice to do it or not, and many moms don't feel comfortable doing it, and that's their choice. But as a mom myself and as a professional supporting moms, I can only emphasize how beautiful and powerful breastfeeding is for both mom and baby. The next one can be a little triggering for many people, so I'm going to link a beautiful book about it in the description, and it's co-sleeping. It's not for everyone. You have to do it in a very safe environment and with very specific ways, but if you consider doing it, read this book. It's called Safe Infant Sleep. It really helped me as a mom to co-sleep in a way that I felt confident doing it. And to be honest, many moms I talked to felt like they wanted to co-sleep intuitively after giving birth because they want to be close to their baby. If you're breastfeeding, you want to have your baby close to your breast because you're exhausted anyway, so you don't want to stand up, go pick up your baby, put them on the breast, put them back, hopefully they stay asleep so that you don't have to do that again. To be honest, co-sleeping saved my postpartum because of all those aspects, but it has many other benefits on an emotional and physical level for both mom and baby. But again, it's not for everyone, and you have to do it in a very safe way. So if that's something you're considering, please check out this book in the description of this video. But that was definitely something that I love doing with my baby because I connect with her even at night, and she can build her emotional structure and safety through doing that. Another practice that I love doing with my daughter, and it's so supportive for my bonding with her, was co-bathing. So I started with bathing my daughter in a regular tub for babies, like we all learned at the hospital, like we all learned through our parents, and she hated it. She hated bathing, and it was so heartbreaking for me because I wanted this moment to be so special, to massage her, for her to be in warm water and to feel connected, and it was not the case at all. So for 3 months, to be honest, I tried this, and I saw that each time she would cry, and it was very rare when she was actually relaxed during bath time. And the first time I entered the bath with her, so in a regular bathtub, like a big one, she never cried again. She was just so peaceful, so happy. She was smiling, she was playful, and now it's one of my favorite things to do with my daughter. We just go into the bathtub together and we have fun, we play, we can breastfeed in the tub, we can do skin to skin, I can sing to her, which is so connecting as well. So co-bathing, I can only recommend it. I love it. Again, if you don't feel comfortable, maybe your partner does and it can help, but this is a beautiful bonding practice in my opinion. And again, please do this safely. Don't hold your baby while being all slippery and you can fall. You have something or someone that can help you if you feel more comfortable. But yeah, this is definitely a practice to try. Another practice that I personally love and I recommend the women that I work with a lot is carrying your baby if you can. If you can hold your baby on your body most of the time, if you have the physical ability to do it, it is so beautiful and so supportive for both you and your baby, because again, your baby wants to feel connected to a person, especially to you, but to a person. And they cannot see very well, they cannot hear very well. So anytime they're far physically from another adult, they're going to feel more stressed, they're going to feel alone, and they're going to feel like something's wrong. So anytime you can be close to your baby, I know it's a lot, I know it can be exhausting to be so close to your baby all the time, but carrying your baby, finding the good carrier that actually supports both of you and your baby can be such a beautiful practice. And again, it doesn't have to be you. It can be your mom, it can be your partner, it can be someone else, a doula that supports you during postpartum. It doesn't have to be you all the time, but it can be very helpful for both your baby and you to have a tool to help you carry them without hurting your body, without being so exhausted. Having a carrier or a wrap, like a scarf, to have your baby close to you can be very supportive. And it also helps your baby develop more core strength and body awareness, because when they're in a stroller, they don't move. They're very passive, which can be very great for some moms, especially when they went through C-section or a very exhausting birth. But if you can carry your baby, or your partner can carry your baby is going to develop core strength because they have to adapt to when you walk. They can feel their body moving, they can feel their center of gravity moving. So it helps them develop body awareness and core strength and balance as well. So maybe walking is going to be easier for them later. It also allows you to breastfeed at all time, which is so convenient. There are many ways to breastfeed while carrying your baby, and that is so helpful when you're on the go, when you're walking and your baby needs to stop. You don't have to stop all the time. You can do both at the same time. This saved me so many meals that I would not have eaten otherwise. I would have my daughter in the carrier and eat above her because that was all I could do at that time. And also something to consider is that when you are close to your baby physically, it's much easier to attune to their needs. So you are the first one to know when they need attention, when they need food, when they need to get changed, when they just need to be soothed because they feel stressed or tired. Having them close to you, you know what they need when they need it. So that can be very helpful to build emotional support and safety for both you and your baby. And my next tip is probably the most important because it's going to help you do all the other tips that I already mentioned previously. Get support, get nurtured. Your mental and emotional availability is what allows you to build connection with your baby. If you're exhausted, if you're drained, if you are dry physically and emotionally, it's going to be very, very hard to bond with your baby. It's going to be very hard to nourish and nurture your baby, both on an emotional and physical aspect. So you can maybe see that your milk supply decreases when you're exhausted and when you feel alone. Getting supported and nurtured is, in my opinion, one of the most impactful factor in postpartum health and in your baby's development. We have heard that it takes a village to grow a child and to raise a child. We all know it. It is hard to build a village. It is hard to trust everyone. It is hard to feel supported in the way you need to be supported during this special time of your life. But if you can make this a priority to build this community, to get supported, it is going to be so important for your own health, for your relationship health with your partner, and for your baby's health. Please remember that community is probably one of the most impactful thing you can build for your own health and for your baby's health. And if you don't know where to start, you can start here. We are a community of mamas that want the same thing, that have common values. So feel free to use the comment section and you can reach out to other mamas because it's always better to mother together. Let me know in the comment section how I can support you during this time, and if you have more ideas on how to connect to your baby. There are so many other ways, but these are a few. There are many other ways to bond with your baby that I already talked about in a previous video called How to Bond with Your Baby Before Birth. But if you're postpartum and you enjoyed this video, you're going to love this one, where I talk about the 3 main mistakes I see moms doing with their food, their diet during postpartum. So I'll see you there or in another video, and until next time, stay radiant and nurtured. Bye bye.